Okay guys, and we are on another episode of Map Visits. And where are we? And guys, those that you know this and the boats are all fired up, we're at Potter Heigham Bridge on the River Thurn. Now this is going to be a two-parter. The first day we are off to St Benet's Abbey on the River Bure, slightly different fishing to the Thurn. And tomorrow we are going to Womack on the Thurn. A two-parter, don't miss it, skimmers all the way. Hi guys, and you're joining me today on the River Bure at the famous St Benet's Abbey stretch on the Norfolk Broads. Now a few weeks ago I came up and fished a 3-day feeder festival on the Thurn, which luckily for me I won over 3 days, 3 section wins. But we thought we'd take this opportunity to come back and have a go on these fantastic rivers, and they're absolutely teeming with fish. So I'm just going to run you through everything that I've done, my setups, how I've fed it when I won the 3-day festival. Now first things first guys, this area where we're fishing today at St Benet's Abbey, and a lot of these venues round here are controlled by Norfolk District Angling Association. Now believe it or not, a yearly ticket is £35. So if you're going to come up here on holiday, you're going to fish for a few days and you don't want to pay day tickets or anything like that, you need to join Norfolk District Angling Association. That gives you loads of places to fish. Now you can fish for free on the Broad system. At Potter Heigham it's free fishing there. You can go to Latham's of Potter Heigham, which is a local tackle shop, get some bait and then go fishing on the area around Potter Heigham. But this is club controlled and we've been given special permission to come and film here today at the famous St Benet's Abbey on the River Bure. Well guys, I've got to say, been absolutely millions of boats today, but it certainly hasn't affected the fishing. Now like all skimmer fishing, although I'm on the rivers, I do like to fish the same sort of way. I like to give it a better bait first of all, and today was no exception. So on that line that I've got sticked up at 26 metres, I've actually give it like 8 big bait up feeders at the start, simply because I like a little bit of something on the bottom. As I said, I don't think there's an awful lot of your ground bait will be left in your peg. I just think with this flow and with the tidal river, I just think that it gets washed away really quickly. So it's really important to put plenty of particles in. So when I give it the 8 bait up feeders at the start, I probably fed in total, in them 8 big bait up feeders, I would say I've probably fed in total probably 1/3 of a pint of casters, probably 1/4 kilo of worms, a few dead maggots, in with that initial 8 bait ups. And when I started on that line, it was almost instant with little fish, but not any skimmers. And I think, but because of the amount of boats we've had, it makes you keep casting and always keep putting bait in all the time. You know, the longest, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you now, the tide has actually stopped. I've got 2 rods set up today for this, and now that the tide stopped, I've gone down to an 11-foot SUV. I'm fishing very fine, still catching little skimmers, but none of the better skimmers I was catching earlier on when it was towing. And I think now that the fish are just grazing on the bottom, because the river's actually not flowing now, it's actually gone still. Now, I have fished this area previously, and what I can remember, I had a fantastic day then as well. It was the day before the Three Rivers Festival a few years back. I sat a few pegs up there to my left, and it was a fantastic session then as well, but it definitely got better when it started to ebb. In other words, the tide started to go back out. I did catch quite a few skimmers on its way in, but when it started to go back that way, it became really, really good. Like, the fish got bigger, I caught more frequently, but I mean, I've had a fantastic day today. It's been ridiculous. You know, I must have, well, I think we've been fishing for 3 hours. I would say I've probably got in excess of 25 pounds. But it's just been really, really good fishing. So my start today was simple: 8 big bait ups, plenty of particles, get that in at the start, and then frequent casting has been really important. And one thing I have noticed today is I fed them worms at the start, and what I do is then I'll hang on before I feed worms again. Sorry guys, it's extremely windy, and I hope you can hear me clearly. So I fed them worms at the start, and then I didn't feed any worms again, because the reason for that is that I wanted to see whether the fish wanted worms. Now, because I put something at the start, along with some casters, along with some dead maggots, yeah, I've caught some fish straight away, but I didn't know if the fish were coming to the worms, or whether they were coming to the casters, or whether they were just coming to the ground bait. So I didn't feed any worms for half an hour after that initial feed. I just put a few casters in my ground bait. Now, after half an hour, I'd caught a few skimmers. It wasn't hectic. So when I started feeding worms again, then I could see if it had an impact on the fishing, and it certainly did. So that's telling me, oh, we're in again, that's then telling me that the fish wanted some worms. But then I didn't go gun-ho again. I probably put in 50 mil of worms into my mix, fed that over a few casts, and after a period of time, yeah, I caught some skimmers, and then it started to go again. So I left it another 10 minutes before I fed worms, and then I'd gone sort of 5 minutes without an indication. I put worms in again, and the fish were back on them worms. So all it's done is telling me, and that's a great fish, all it's doing is telling me that the fish wanted worms today. So from that moment on, within a sort of like an hour and 10 minutes into the session, I mean, look at that fish, that's fantastic. An hour and 10 minutes into the session, I've now started to feed worms on a regular basis. And in all honesty, guys, it's just got stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, quickly touching on the feeder, as I said earlier, I've been fishing a 30-gram feeder out there with a slightly stronger rod, with a rod up in the end. It's been really, really windy today. And so bite detection has been difficult. If I fished a soft rod out there, the tip was just getting blown all over the place. I couldn't see the bite properly. The only way I could have seen the bite properly is if I put a really heavy feeder on, as I mentioned earlier, tighten down to it and wait for a big bite, a big drop back. Don't really want to do that. I'm fishing for skimmers. I like to have a little bit of finesse about it. But now that the tow has stopped, I'm fishing now a 20-gram 3/0 cage feeder on a softer rod, and I don't need to put a heavy feeder on to hold bottom because it's not moving. But what has been really important is that I need to keep feeding all the time. If I don't get a bite within 2 minutes, I'll bring it back in and I'll chuck it again, because I feel there's so many fish in this river system, especially here. I mean, oh, that was a bite instantly then. But I feel like I'm fishing a still water now. The river's stopped. It's definitely starting to drop. It's dropped a couple of inches. Oh, there you go. What do you know, Westy, eh? I thought I'd missed the bite. We're not putting him in the net, it's too small. And yeah, definitely keep feeding all the time, putting something. I just think everything that you put in, these fish eat. There's so many fish in this river. I emptied some floating casters off my casters a little while ago down here by my footplate, and as it went down the river to my right, the fish were topping, taking them off the surface, and that's literally a metre out from the bank. Absolutely ridiculous. There's so many fish in here, and now I can actually see, now that the flow stopped, I've actually just seen a fish top in the middle of the river, a roach top. I've not seen any fish top in the middle of the river all day. Absolutely crazy. Now I think everybody at some point has gone to Great Yarmouth for their holidays, or up on the Broads, or Hemsby, or Hopton-on-Sea, or Lowestoft. It's like the East Coast version of Blackpool. And the fishing around here on this Broad system is phenomenal. Oh, come on, Westy. Just missed a bite then. It's been a bit weird, guys, I'm not going to lie, because I've been fishing my rod up in the air with a 30 gram feeder, line out the water, feeding a bow so that the flow doesn't catch the line, and now I'm fishing conventional style, rod tip down. But what it's doing now, by fishing the rod tip down, I mean, it's really winding, it looks like it's towing, but it's not actually towing. By fishing my rod tip down, as soon as that flow starts to pick up, this soft tip will just start to bend round with the flow, and it starts to ebb back out. And then it'll be time to put the rod back up in the air again, heavier feeder, and get back with the 30 gram feeder, fishing how I have been for the first 2.5 hours of the session. But I just can't tell you how many fish are in this system. Look at that, it's incredible. How long was that out there? 30 seconds? That feels like another skimmer. And the skimmers on this river, just slightly bigger than the ones on the Thurn. The Thurn fish, the average ones on the Thurn fish, I'd say 5-6 ounces. I'd say these ones on the Bure are between 8 to 10 ounces. Now the river is virtually at a standstill now. It's starting to drop a little bit. There's virtually no tow. So I'm using the softer rod, the 11-foot SUV now, with 1.5 ounce tip in it, because it's just not moving. It is now like a still water. But what this is going to do by fishing like this now is, when the flow starts to ebb out and starts to pick up again, this soft tip will start to bend round. It will tell me that the flow's picking up and it's starting to ebb back towards the sea. Rod down at the moment, but it's really weird, because when the tide's coming, I can see now it's dropped a couple of inches by me foot plate. But we are on the Broads. It has been extremely windy. At times bite detection's been difficult. Another little bit of a liner then. Here we go. Go on, go on, go on. There we go, we're back in again. But it's just fantastic skimmer fishing. The skimmers on the Bure, I mean, I spoke to Steve Clark, who ran the festival a couple of weeks ago, and he said that usually the skimmers on the Bure are just slightly bigger than the skimmers on the Thurn. And true to Steve's word, the skimmers that I was catching on the Thurn a couple of weeks ago sort of averaged between 4 and 6 ounces, I would say. Yeah, we had a few better ones, but on the whole, most of the fish were skimmers that we were catching between 4, I would say between 4 and 7 ounces, with a few pounders and an odd 2 or 3 pounder mixed in. I've only had one sort of 2 pounder today, but the size of the skimmers on the Bure are definitely a better stamp than they were on the Thurn. But the fishing is just, I can't begin to tell you how good the fishing is on this river. It's just a shame I can't get here more often, and I can see why the match scene on the Thurn and the Bure is booming, because it's just such good fishing. Hardly moving now. I'm just wondering when it's going to start picking up and going the other way, because there's not a lot of movement in the river at the moment. Now normally when I've been on the Yare and places like that over the years, when it goes still, I'd go on the pole, and it's better to present catching roach on the pole when it goes like that. And normally the skimmer fishing backs off a little bit until it starts to go again. But this is just a compliment to how good this river system is. You know, I'm still catching skimmers now. Yeah, I'm sitting on my own today. I've got no one around me. But these days when you just come here and catch loads and loads of fish, there we go, I'm back in again. It's only a small one, but I'm back in. I think that's a roach. Gave me a great bite. What are these? I think these roach must be on steroids as well. Now look at that. I think that's about I'd say probably about my 10th roach today. Most of the fish I've had have been little skimmers. I was an absolute numpty earlier. I had a great big perch and it come off at the net. In fact, I think Tony actually filmed me going to net it, and I think, to be honest, I think I actually knocked the fish off with me landing net in the wind. Bad angling on my behalf. The fact I'm an absolute numpty. But I remember when I was younger and I used to watch John Wilson on the telly, and he was from the Norfolk area. He used to come on the Broads and piking, not so much skimmer fishing how I'm fishing today, but you know, he did lots of programs where he fished on the Broads and some of the lakes on the Broads, and they were really exciting programs. It's just great to come back to fish venues like this. I said I don't fish them very often. I've actually got a caravan at Great Yarmouth, to be fair, and literally 15 minutes from where they have the draw on the River Bure. But I just can't get up here as much as I used to, fish weekends on the Bure. But we had an opportunity to come and do some filming on the Bure, and hopefully we're going to try and get a day on the Thurn tomorrow. There is a match on tomorrow, so we're going on an area that I fished a few years back. But hopefully we'll catch a load of skimmers there tomorrow. But just to prove how many fish are in this river system, it's absolutely incredible. Now, the river's just started to ebb out now. I've been fishing for 20 minutes, it's hardly moving about. I fished a soft rod with my tip down. It's just started to tow again, so I'm going to have to go back out on the rod, put the rod up in the air to create a bow. Now, give me an opportunity to run you through what I've set up today. Now, I've got here a 12-foot Extremis SUV feeder rod. Yes, it's a stepped up version, but it's got a bit of power from the blank. The conditions today have been really, really windy. It's coming across and downstream at us. I've tried to use a soft rod today, having a bow. it would have been bouncing all over the place. I wouldn't have seen any bites. So I've opted for something a little bit stiffer, the Extremis SUV. I've paired that up with the brand new Extremis reel in a 5000 size, £6 mono on there. Hook length, I've got 013 optimum power, a size 14 pole special, and the rig itself is just a really simple fixed paternoster rig. So coming off the main line, I've put a snap link swivel on the bottom. I like to have a little bit of twizzle boom at the bottom. That's just me, my own personal preference. 30 gram side weighted open end feeder. And all I've done is come about 6 inches from my swivel, and I've done a figure of 8 loop to create a loop boom that I can put hook length on. It's as simple as that. So there's my boom, there's my loop that I've got 6 inches above my feeder, and my hook length is attached to that. Simple, old school paternoster rig, and it's great on the rivers because it acts as a bolt rig. The fish picks up the bait, hits the weight of the feeder, moves the feeder, my tip pings up, gives me a drop back bite. Absolutely perfect. And when the river stopped, as the tide started to turn, I could fish a much softer rod. And for that, 11 foot SUV Black Edition Pro. I've got one of the new Parabolics Pro reels with £6 mono on. No leader today. I don't need to be fishing with great big heavy feeders. The business end, size 12 match special to 013 optimum power. 20 gram 3-hole cage. Because it's not moving, I don't need to put a load of weight on to hold bottom. It's just like fishing conventional still waters. And yet again, same as on the other rod, a fixed paternoster rig so that it acts as a bolt rig. Simple as that, really easy setups. Well, the tide has turned now, guys, and it's going the other way. So all I've done is just move my rod rest to the other front leg. It was on my right leg when it was towing to my right. Now it's towing to my left. I've moved my rod rest to the left. And you normally find when the tide turns, you normally get a chance of a few better fish. I don't know that. That's what I've been told. Apparently, I don't fish the river enough. But normally on the turn of the tide it can be quite good. When I fished up here a few years ago, it was good when the tide turned. It's been quite a bite then. There we go. I think that's another skimmer. There we go. Yeah, that's like the first chuck back since I've turned the rod round. Weren't out there very long, only about a minute. Not big fish though. Feels like a small skimmer, but it's so weird that you change direction of the way you're fishing on these tidal rivers. And I think the water has dropped already. I mean, I can see the water's probably dropped 6-8 inches in the last 20 minutes. These fish are ravenous, these skimmers. It's such good fishing. Just wish to live a little closer, but I can understand why the match scene is thriving in this area of the country on these rivers. I mean, the rivers, I fished the Thurn a couple of weeks ago, as I've mentioned previously, and it was brilliant. £22 one day, £23 another day. Not such good on the third day, but enough to win me section, but 14 or 15, £14 I think, something like that. But the fishing was still great. You had a bite of chuck from start to finish. The fishing's just great. I mean, we have had so many boats though. We must have had 100 boats today. But it hasn't affected the fishing. These fish are used to these boats. Excuse me guys, my coat keeps riding up over my face. You can't see me. I know most of you don't want to look at me anyway, but the wind is still really, really strong. It's getting stronger actually. It's been quite difficult at times. The wind is howling down the river, and it was difficult earlier. Oh, there we go, we're bouncing. Oh, there we go. Feels like a slightly better skimmer. But how long was that out, guys? You must have seen that, what, 30 seconds? Oh, if we was to put a net across this river and see how many skimmers are in front of me now. But when I fished last time, as I said, when the tide turned, it fished really, really well. I've been fishing for like 4 and a bit hours now. I must have 30 pounder skimmers, I must have. Because they've been really good stamp. They're all this sort of stamp really, so, apart from an odd small one. Most of them have been between, I'd say, 8 to 12 ounces. I've had quite a few around the pound mark, but that's a great size, that. Look at that. But there must be literally millions of fish in here. Oh, it's just like being in a Mr. Crabtree scene. Mind you, I don't think Mr. Crabtree scenes were as good as this. Just been such an enjoyable day. It's lovely to come and do this sort of fishing. If you're ever on holiday in the Norfolk Broads on the east coast, get yourself on these rivers. They are absolutely rammed with fish. I apologise, guys, if the wind's picking up the wind all the time. It is really, really strong wind, 20-25 mile an hour winds today, they were saying. And as you know, anywhere near the coast you always get some strong winds near the coast, especially later on in the afternoon as the land warms up more than what the sea does, and it creates a backdraft and the wind blows in off the sea. But the wind seems to be getting stronger and stronger as the day goes on, to be fair. Oh, just a little tiny rattle then. When you get a bite, it's really positive. Bang, bang, they moved the feeder, dislodged the feeder, the fish has hooked itself. So you just got to wait for that bang release. It might only move back a couple of inches and then it will reset itself because the fish has dislodged the feeder. Now what's really, really strange, when I was here a couple of weeks ago, and oh, there we go. Oh, that's a better one. Oh, just as I thought, as soon as the tide turns, start to get some better skimmers. This feels like a much better fish. I don't think it's a bream, but it feels like a better skimmer, maybe a pound fish. But this is exactly what happened when I fished a few pegs further up a couple of years ago. As soon as the tide turned, it became really, really good. I mean, this fishing is just fantastic. I keep saying it, but I can't tell you what a great fish that is. That's a couple of pound. Well, maybe not. Maybe got a bit excited there. Pound and a half, I'd say. Oh, look at that. Whew. Beautiful. Let's unhook you, Abbey. Well, just seen me catch that lovely skimmer, say about £1.5 pounds. Put another hook length on. I've just gone back out, and I've got to say, it looks like we might get a bit of rain, guys. So I'm gonna chuck it out, try and catch one more fish, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Off out tonight for a curry, as we do. And if you've ever been in the East Coast, Planet Spice in Armsbury, St Margaret's is absolutely fantastic. I'm going there tonight. Gonna meet up with some friends, Steve Clark and his family, and Big Tone. Obviously, you don't go anywhere without Big Tone when we're doing some filming. But I'm here again tomorrow, and we're going to go on the Thurn tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have another cracking day. Let's just see if I can catch one more fish. A little bit of a rattle then, wait for a proper bite. Waiting for the fish to dislodge the feeder. Gives me a drop back, pick it on, it's already hooked. Don't need to strike, just lift the rod up, the fish should be on. As I've mentioned, guys, we've had loads and loads of boats today. But the worst thing you can do is let the boats get you and get the ump about it. The fish are used to these boats being here. There's been literally, and if I said there's been 100 boats today, then I wouldn't be lying. It's been, at times I can't even get in the water. There's been that many boats coming. But we've just had a little skimmer to finish off with. I've got to say, what an absolutely fantastic day we've had today. Little skimmer to finish off with. Thanks for Norwegian District Angling Association for letting us come and do some filming on their club water today. It's been, well, I can't even say how good this has been today. It's been absolutely brilliant. I've had an absolutely fantastic day's fishing, one that I won't forget for a long time. So guys, all I'm going to say is take care, and I'll see you on the bank sometime. Bye for now.